How's it going, my fellow Cowfishians? This is Causation Cody speaking, and welcome to the next 5-minute review, more or less, of a game called Star Renegades. Star Renegades is a dimensional spanning roguelite strategy RPG. Outsmart uniquely generated adversaries, forge bonds between heroes, and end the cycle. Released the 8th of September 2020, developer Massive Damage Inc. and publisher Raw Fury. So when it comes to this game, the pros for this game is the music. The music is so good in this game. It is super catchy. You definitely won't get tired of it, that's for sure. The battle system for the game is really cool. It takes a little bit getting used to, but once you get used to it, you'll understand how the flow of the game goes, and therefore it makes it easier to fight, do said battles by taking less damage, protecting yourself, knowing when to attack, stuff like that. I'll get back to that when we get to the cons. The pixel art is really good. I definitely enjoy the pixel art of the game. I kind of wish that the maps themselves were a little bit more unique when it comes to what's around you, due to the fact that some of it just kind of looks way too same. Like, for instance, when you go inside of a cave or inside of a ship, it's far different from the actual world that you are in. But when you go to different planets, they kind of just look the same. I don't know. It's a little bit odd. It's really good looking pixel art, but kind of wish it was slightly more different than you would think. The fast forward system, so once you actually get used to what's going on, being able to just fast forward through the fights, let your team attack or the enemy team attack without having the need to constantly wait for everyone's turn to finish, where you can just hold down a button to fast forward through the battle, and then you go on again. So there isn't necessarily a skip whatever's happening in the fight. There's just a fast forward, so you can just fast forward through everything, which I think is really cool. You won't use it at first, but again, once you actually get used to how the game works, you'll be using it way more. Also, when I was playing the game didn't have difficulties at first, but when they actually ended up getting updated, it ended up getting updated with... I ended up playing this game on the Xbox Game Pass, by the way. It's also available on Steam as of the making of this video. Something might change by then, who knows, but... So when I was playing this game, there was no difficulty, but it got updated, and then they added difficulty to the point where now there was easy normal to start off with. Obviously, they both do their own separate thing when it comes to more damage and sort, which is really good. But when it comes to the cons, I'll just say this flat out. This is definitely a review that I'm making that I actually never ended up beating the game. Like, for anyone that watches me play Super Mario Maker 2, this is definitely one of those games where it just got way too repetitive. Even when it comes to the difficulty and me putting it down to from whatever it was before to easy, I still could not beat the game. I got to the final boss, or at least what I think would be the final boss, like a good 5 times, and just never actually got there. By the time they implemented difficulty, so from whatever it was to easy or normal, I got to the boss maybe once, and I couldn't beat him, just got frustrated and stopped. I probably played this game for 15 to 20 hours, and I just could not beat it. I don't know, just something about it that I could not figure out how to do when it comes to like setting up my party or gaining relationships with them. So, for instance, everyone starts off neutral, but every single time you finish a day, because the game works by days, so you have 3 days to move around, kill, or loot treasure boxes or whatever. And at the end, each day has essentially 3 turns that you can choose. So basically, every time you go from one room to another, you have to like break the seal, and you have 3 seals that you can break before the day runs out, and then you would enter a campfire. And every single time you enter a campfire, you can gain relationships with your teammates. So basically, at first, you start off with 3 teammates, and then every time you finish a world, you gain another teammate, up to 5 teammates, and you can gain relationship from all 5 of them, but you can only gain an X amount of relationship by using these cards that you essentially get. So, like you can make it so said teammate will deal 10% more shield damage for 2 turns or 2 battles. I'm not sure which of the 2 it is. And that relationship will go from 0 to 3 hearts. And I'm not sure if it's each team, but they don't essentially tell you how big the relationship number goes to. So let's just pretend it goes up to 20. So you only have 3. In one card, you would only gain 3 relationship out of 20, so you would have to use several cards to actually end up maxing them out, for example. And to be able to max out 5 different teammates, it's just going to be impossible. So you obviously have to pick and choose exactly who you want to have relationships with, or a friendship, whatever it's called. And what's cool about the game is anytime you gain like extra friendship from one partner to the other, depending on which one it is, you'll actually gain a special ability. So you'll be able to do like a tag team special move, for instance, that would deal either extra damage, stun everyone, or heal, shield, whatever it is you can think of. I did not actually end up doing every single one to see what every single special ability would be if you actually reach that friendship section. It's hard to explain, but again, it's a really cool, unique gameplay style when it comes to this game, but due to the difficulty of just the final boss alone, like you basically have to form your team as you go by the time you get to the final section, and obviously by the time you get there, you would want certain people to be at certain parts of friendship, and I don't know, like I just couldn't do it. So it's definitely very hard for me to explain without just telling you outright. It's a really good game. Definitely suggest you play it. But again, this is definitely one of those games that I was not able to beat, but still really felt to review the game regardless. So when it comes to the cons, the idle chatter. So every time you go into a new world, you have the enemy that talks among themselves about your team, like, oh, there they are, or oh, here comes the weaklings, or let's all kill them, whatever it is that they want to say. The idle chatter, like there is no fast forward to the idle chatter or skip button, so if you don't want to listen to it, you just skip it outright and continue. Granted, it doesn't last very long, but every single time you're playing the game, you have to hear it. And if you're constantly playing the game because you've already died and you're constantly having to hear it, it starts to get annoying, hence why they put the fast forward button in there. But the idle chatter doesn't have a fast forward button, so I found that really weird. Again, no fast forward during camping. So anytime you go into a camping and you give the cards that would increase your friendships from one teammate to the other, they'll start chatting if you reach a certain amount. There's just no way you can actually fast forward that chatter. So every single time you're playing a game again, because you're going to be dying a lot and seeing these rooms over and over again, there's no way you can actually fast forward those things. I think when they ended up updating the game when I was playing it, if you ended up seeing that text box at least once in your gameplay, they would stop chatting, but I'm not 100% sure. I found that annoying. Again, it doesn't take very long, but just the fact that you're going to have to keep constantly looking at it is a little bit annoying. Anytime you level up, it'll always give you like level 1, level 2, level 3. And anytime anyone gains a level, it would always show it to you, regardless of what's happening. And once you've seen it 10 times, you're kind of tired of it, but it doesn't go away because you're gaining a level. So I don't know, I found that pretty annoying. For me, when I was playing the game actually would end up crashing every single time I ended up entering a spaceship. For some reason, you would kill the monster, the mob that would be protecting the spaceship, and when you actually get into the spaceship, for some reason it would just soft lock, and you'll be able to move around, but there's nothing in there, nor will you be able to continue. And the way to fix that was by saving and exiting and then coming back into the game, and then it would like repeat your last fight, and then it would enter the spaceship once again, and then like the game will continue going forward from where it was supposed to start. Not really sure why. And on top of the crashing during elevator fights, which would basically happen like a good 8 times out of 10, it would just crash in general. Like, for instance, when the game got updated from no difficulty to choosing easy to normal, whichever one it is you chose, I actually ended up getting, I believe, either to the second last or the last world that I needed to do in order to enter the final boss. But this thing just like outright crashed, and it crashed on me twice, but the second time it actually ended up fixing itself, where the shops were located somewhere totally different in the map. You could still talk to them, but they were like stacked on each other, so it was really hard. And both times the same thing happened, but again, one of the times it ended up fixing itself, and the other time where nothing would just interact besides the shop, and the shop no longer helped because you couldn't actually continue going forward. So constant crashes that would just ruin the game for some reason. Like, why the crashes? I don't know. I felt like the game just kind of, like, they didn't bother looking into that. I have no idea. But definitely when I was playing it for at least the Xbox Game Pass, the game would just randomly crash or stop working. And again, I was just fed up after like 15-20 hours of trying to beat the game, not successfully doing it, and then the crashes and the idle chatter and no fast, like, no, I was tired. The game is, again, really good. I don't like repeating things over and over again, so that was a big setback for me. But really good game. I'm assuming all of this stuff will be fixed in the near future, but as for me, like, I just got tired. I just got tired of it and didn't want to deal with it. I did feel like I should have at least reviewed the game so everyone would know that it's definitely a recommended game for me. And if I ever find the time, I'll come back and see if I can beat it again, or try to. But for now, I'm pretty much done. The game's really fun, but there's definitely quite a few cons in there that kind of need fixing. Hopefully they'll fix that. But you let me know Well, if you had any problems playing the game, whether if it's the Xbox Game Pass or Steam or just in general what you thought of the game, let me know what it is exactly it is I was doing wrong. I can't specifically tell you what I was doing wrong, but in general, like, I definitely got to the final boss a few times and just could not win. So yeah, without having any spoilers in there, I just couldn't do it. So I just got tired and stopped. But there you go. Let this review just be this is what I thought about the game. I do recommend it, but again, never beat it, so I don't actually specifically know whether the game is actually quote unquote worth playing. It was for me, but I just couldn't do it. So that being said, hopefully I'll get to see you on the next one, and take care. Peace.